Sorry, I've got double buttons to push all of a sudden. Okay, we are live, Scott, and you've got a story that's all of a sudden made its way back to you. Got thrown over your.
Well, yeah, I didn't. No, I didn't draw this. Dan
Uh,
just asked me if I'd letter this, and I've things have been crazy in my house lately, and I've had this for a little bit. It's a story by a friend of ours, or the art is by a friend of ours, Kent Clark,
mm-hmm,
and I've known Kent for quite a while, longer than I've known Dan,
mm-hmm,
longer than I've known you actually.
mm-hmm,
Through the local comic group. He's an Oklahoman,
mm-hmm.
and
Uh,
anyway, so I don't I have no I don't relish the idea of lettering because it's just it's not beneath me or anything like that, but it's a task.
mm-hmm. Well, I like his
And
art. I made you a solo layout real
oh,
quick.
okay. Anyway, so I'm lettering these. So I told Dan I would letter this for him.
Mm-hmm,
Um, I've been with my father. I think I talked about this last week, probably on the
mm-hmm,
show. My father-in-law has been in and out of the hospital. Well, he's been in the hospital and then in rehab, and then back in the hospital. And so
How is he doing? I mean, yeah, it's
he's
like.
in Amarillo. He went to Amarillo last week, and we took their dog to Sayre, which is halfway, and met my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law, and they gave us my wife's uncle, his brother, my father-in-law's brother, and we took him to Oklahoma City to the airport. Had a great visit with him, and which I had picked him up at the airport the Wednesday before. And then when my father-in-law was put into rehab in Amarillo, where my sister-in-law lives, and so the uncle came down and he stayed with him, and then he went with him to Amarillo. So I had to pick him up so he'd go back to the airport. We'd drop off their dog, and then we'd talked about going down tomorrow to Amarillo tomorrow. We're not going to because it kind of came up last minute, and we don't have anybody to watch the dog, which is always and our dog is um, a challenge.
Yeah,
She's real energetic,
I've
and
never actually touched your newest dog.
no, you haven't been to my house in a while.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Um, oh, I pasted
Ever since that accident. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, well, ever since you came over and peed in my
Yeah,
swimming pool,
yeah, that's it.
it's like no more Ellis. My wife
Yeah.
said, no. I don't have a swimming pool, and Ellis did not pee in it.
Well,
But
Ellis is incontinent, but he never has
but he did not
peed
pee
in
in it.
any of my.
What in the world is going on here?
What is going on there? Have
Well,
I made you too small? That's it. If you were having to use the screen I'm looking at, you would be in trouble. So are you an illustrator to do your lettering? Is that what you're up
yeah.
to?
Well, yes. So I did the lettering.
Oops. What the hell? What did I
Okay,
do?
no,
Oh, I see what
me,
happened. You just happened to change your screen at the time
right?
that I was doing that. Okay.
Uh, okay. So,
But
yeah,
you got
yours
all
is.
your
My
balloons
computer has
ready
two
and
screens now. My new computer has two screens,
oh, cool.
so it's easier for me to do stuff like do live streaming.
And you got this new computer from
My wife's work.
your wife's work. Yeah.
Uh,
Kind of.
it cost
How
me
is that
nothing.
anymore? Our beloved downtown parking. How's it going in terms of like? Are they ever going to decide they need to get all the way out of it, or are they still there and
They're
like
still there.
feeling like things are going to remain unchanged?
Things for now are unchanged.
I mean, it's such a groovy little spot. I mean, it's
Oh
really
yeah.
a nice
Tell us
little
talk about
spot.
my wife's office.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is I'm trying to convince this guy I'm doing side work with that when we go live.
If it was in Austin, that place would be worth $10 million. I don't know what it would be worth, but it's such a group. What makes it so cool is it's right on the edge of where you could say residential starts, which happens to be old 100-year-old mansions.
Oh yeah.
And then what you'd call the foothills of just being downtown, which Scott and I walk it all the
you can
time
walk
just
it
to
with
be
no problem.
in the middle of downtown.
Yeah,
It's a really cool place.
It's yeah, and the other thing is it has its own parking lot, which is
Yes,
gated, which is like
gated
phenomenal,
parking. Yeah.
that area, and it yeah, it's a good place. Yeah, I'll be sad on my wife.
Location,
for whatever
location. Yeah.
reason. Great. Yeah, it's a good location. It's just, and it's not far. If you don't feel like walking, it's not super far from a stop for the trolley car.
Oh yeah, yeah. Another big plus on it is if you just don't want to walk, you can catch a trolley
Yeah.
car to anywhere you can think of in the
The downtown
downtown
area.
vicinity.
Yep.
Go to a movie at Bricktown, go to Bricktown events.
Yeah, it's anyway, but forgot where I was going. Anyway, what have you
Okay,
been
sorry.
up to? Have you been walking since it's been so cold?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. This isn't cold. We've got some February coming up. It's just going to be a dream for being February in Oklahoma. It's going to be really
Yeah.
good temps.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, tomorrow's supposed to be nice.
Mhm.
Okay, so I got page 4 done. If Dan is watching, I don't know if Dan is watching. I don't think so.
I think Mario isn't going to be here tonight. We had a good talk. Mario and I did Tuesday, talking about our little project, the dictionary of dinosaur puns.
Yeah.
And I had one little thing to. Oh, by the way, was it? Were you telling me you had any sort of back or leg pain recently, or not?
Not recently, but
Okay.
I have for sure.
Yeah, I have miraculously, and it bugs me because you always want to know, well, what fixed me.
Yeah.
I had some pretty bad sciatica pains,
Ouch.
and all of a sudden I'm over it. But in terms of like what may have fixed me, it could be one of 3 factors. I've done 2 new exercises. One of them is just bending over and touching my toes and holding it. The other one is a bridge where you just basically put your heels on the floor and you're on the back of your neck and you bridge up to where your back is straight, and that may be it. I'm about of a mind that may be what did it. But the other thing is I have a very new chair.
Oh, that may do it too.
And that's it. I got 3 possibilities of what may have fixed me. And it kind of bugs me not to be able to say, well, that's what fixed me.
That was definitely it.
Because, that's something where you could actually go to the trouble of making a YouTube video about it. Hey, you people with sciatica, this is how you fix it. Get this chair.
Well, there's a lot of good YouTube videos. If you're having trouble with your back or whatever.
Oh yeah.
I've
Well, that's where I got a lot of information at.
Yeah, some of those YouTube. There's a guy. Did I give you the guy like? I forget their names. It's 2 guys that do.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Those 2 older guys. One of
Dan
them's tall. They're both
Yeah.
goofy. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I forget their names.
But I've gotten a lot of good stretches and stuff from them.
Yeah.
They're real good.
Yeah, they try to keep
I've
it
been
real.
doing for about 2 weeks now. I've been doing like a 12-minute full body stretch.
Oh, that's good.
That just fixes me up. I feel tons better when I do it.
Yeah, I think, and it's weird, I've underrated this kind of exercise my entire life, but the type of exercises, I isometric, basically, I guess is what you call it. It's like,
Oh yeah, the old Doc Savage thing.
yeah, the whole thing of like just making your muscles tense and holding it is, in while you're in some sort of position that, starts to burn if you leave it there long enough. Uh, and of course, that's the whole basis for Pilates and all that stuff, yoga.
Yeah. Oh, it's oh, what do they call that? I can't think of what they call that. Where
It's
you work. Is there
calisthenics.
another word besides isometric? I guess it's isometric. But
Yeah.
yeah, where your muscles work against each other. I'm trying to think of what Doc Savage called it.
Well, I literally think about that as him being superhuman enough to literally have his
Rip his arm
biceps
off.
and his triceps waging war in some way or other,
Yeah, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, the isometric, and of course that was a big part of Charles Atlas's curriculum was
Oh, yeah.
explaining some isometric principles to you. Get up against the door and hold it. Push it in. Move the world in your imagination. Or whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, I've been doing the stretches, which is pretty good. I mean, I'm convinced that's between if you get a little bit of exercise or a lot of exercise, I guess, but if you get exercise and stretch, you'll go a long ways.
Oh yeah.
I think.
Theory seems like I sound theory. Have you seen any movies lately that you thought were worth your time?
You know what I watched that was pretty good?
What?
So we went to New Orleans back in December, and I really
Did you see it on the plane? Oh, wait a second. You probably drove, didn't you?
We went to the World War II Museum.
Uh-huh.
And so I've been kind of in a World War II kick. I'm reading a book about World War II. Of course, with my father-in-law, I spent hours in the hospital waiting room, and so I've been reading this World War II book, and then I watched a movie called The Battle of Britain. Have you ever seen that?
It's about the
Battle of Britain.
The shelling or not?
Oh yeah, about and I thought that was pretty good. Let's see, what else have I watched?
It's funny to read books by guys that are living through it and writing autobiographically about it, and especially if it's like log entries of like as they were living it. It's just like, oh, there was a little bit of damage done.
Yeah, they come back and their plane is all shot up.
Yeah. It's like, but
or the tail is missing. Like
big deal.
Little bit of damage.
Yeah. It's like, oh well, our country's being shot up by the Hun, but then in the case of Richard Burton, he'll talk about how excited he was to be seeing the new movie with so-and-so in it from the 1930s. It's coming up. I'm going to be there. And then mention the strafing that's going on his country.
I think he was in that movie.
Oh yeah, I bet you a dollar he was. He actually didn't last long in armed forces. In his own book, doesn't have too many details about why it was. Maybe he didn't stick too long, but I would imagine it was probably discipline.
Probably.
If I had to guess, mad hooligan soccer player that likes to drink. They probably,
you will not go into town and chase women.
Yeah. With your theatrical bent. I don't think he was one of them that transitioned, though, to entertaining the troops or anything. He was just kind of like in and out. Got a little bit of service in. That's it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people did back then.
Yeah. And, of course, he still at that point, pretty young man.
Yeah.
It's a good little bio book. Burton was a guy who tried to read 1 or 2 books a day practically,
Oh, really?
and he was
Oh,
always
that's
in.
amazing.
Yeah,
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 they're real busy.
yeah. You'd think he'd be busy, but he was smart enough and uh, like you, he apparently a very quick reader.
I'm a quick reader. I wish I had
Consumer.
more time to read.
But that'd be a good talent to have for a guy that's always going to have a interest, an interest in where's the good script? Show me a damn good script. I'm
Well, you know, it's
sick of all
funny.
these bad scripts. What's that?
At work, somebody came across on the I don't know what it is there's a website where you take your citizenship test, and you can take a pre-test, and so some of my employees took it, and like they're telling me their scores, and I was like, was it hard? How did you guys? And they're like, I was like, how did you guys score so low? And and so they were like, okay, you take it.
You take it.
Fellas, I took it and I got 100.
There you go. I'd like to take it. Send me the link.
I'll have to look for it.
Okay.
But yeah, it was like, you guys. I said, are you guys even Americans? Come on.
Yeah.
What is this problem? It was. I don't want to tell you any of the questions.
Yeah. Don't tell me. Well, you can if you want to. I don't care. You probably won't get around to giving me the link.
Well, have you ever had a civics class?
You know what? I think the only one I had was in junior high.
Oh, yeah. We'll see how you do. I'll send you the link. I'm sure it's not hard to find.
Oh, this pen broke. Little needles just thrusting right out at me. I hate that, especially when there's ink left in the barrel. How much? That's a number 5. Well, I dropped it. I probably earlier. Oh well.
Well, let's see. I see the studied naturalization test.
Naturalization. Yeah, I that was one of the things that distracted me. I usually try to not turn on miscellaneous stuff until I get settled in and have accomplished, like a log entry or whatever.
Yeah.
And today I wanted to turn everything on early because of Kash Patel being grilled, because I want him to do well, and I want to make sure that Trump gets what he wants, all that kind of stuff. And Patel did well. It was good. It was good to see that these guys that are just, especially Adam Schiff, boy, he doesn't want it. He doesn't want Patel to get anywhere close to being able to turn around and examine anything that he's been up to.
I just sent it to you, Ellis.
Okay, great.
Since I'm on a computer, I can do more stuff like that.
You want to know
how
American I am.
Yeah, are you even American?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they were like, one guy that's very patriotic got a 40, and I was like,
well, it's amazing, how much people take for granted that
sure, that they know. Well, I had a civics class in college, and I remember a lot of it, and I read a lot. I'm not a moron.
Well, no, and I'm a guy that
early
on was interested in stuff like Bill Buckley's Firing Line. I could sit and watch a couple hours worth of that tonight if I had to. It'd be interesting to me as a time capsule.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I used to watch Firing Line too.
Sure.
What was the girl that was on there? The lady.
Oh, you mean Crossfire?
Oh, Crossfire. You're right. I'm confused.
Yeah.
Crossfire is like a Watchman.
Yeah, Crossfire was famously made fun of in Airplane, of course, and SNL. Jana, and of course, Aykroyd on SNL was, Jana, you slut. or whatever it was he called her.
Ignorant slut.
You ignorant slut. Yeah. Big laugh.
This is the kind of crap I hate about lettering. It's like, I gotta find a font. And I don't, off the top of my head, I don't know what any of the fonts are.
I just go mad sometimes saying, surely I'm going to eventually collide with a font that aesthetically is what I need for this. I mean, I know I'll know it when I see it, and I'm not seeing it. Yeah.
Drive yourself crazy.
Yep.
Looking for fonts. Oh, and I'll look for fonts that are stupidest things and be like, I gotta find a font for like labeling like art pages.
Mm-hmm.
It's like no one cares what font you use, but I'm like, I gotta find the perfect font.
Yeah, it's gotta be your mind's eye. And of course, I don't have one of those. We've discussed that.
Well, you don't.
Yeah, but your mind's eye, man. That's, I guess, why I have to see it. Hitman's Apprentice was a streaming movie. Was an interesting movie. Hitman's Apprentice.
Is it D? Is D Dan?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Dan is usually like YouTube user or something like that.
But
he's missing out on lettering his comic.
Thanks, D, for the recommendation. I'm just going through. I've seen Office seasons 1 through. I'm just about done with season 5.
We were talking about Office at work today because I don't watch The Office. Never watched it regularly.
Mm-hmm.
So every time I travel, like without my wife, which is not often, but I'll go to our plant up in Illinois, and it seems like I'll go back to the room, and we're always kind of done, and there's nothing to do.
Uh-huh.
And I'll end up watching The Office. It's always The Office. Office is always on.
That's interesting. With what? Is it just on local TV and syndication or
Comedy
something?
Central.
Oh, okay. Okay. I didn't know that was Comedy Central. Okay.
Yes.
The blooper reels. Oh my gosh. Those things.
The Office?
Yeah. Those things always pick me up. Those guys, because they're really bad about cracking each other up anyway.
Yeah.
And there's just something infectious about somebody just honestly losing it that just makes you laugh. But the show itself is pretty funny too. I'm trying to think of the guy, the little dark-haired guy that plays the temp is apparently probably the most important creative part of The Office. He's a writer and I guess kind of was very important in it and adapting the feel of the thing from the English series.
Oh yeah. Have you ever tried to watch the English series?
Yeah, I've watched probably half of the first one anyway.
Oh gosh, half of the first episode.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's probably farther.
They didn't make that many of them. I can watch those, and 10% of the time I've devoted to watching the American version. Yeah, they didn't do too many of them.
Oh yeah, definitely like the American one better.
Oh yeah.
Of course, we watch Woo.
Yeah.
And Woo is in, Adam the Woo. He's in London right now.
What's he up to?
Oh, he's over in London. It's funny. He went to Belize and he was going to stay down there for, I guess, weeks and weeks. And he ended up coming back early. And so on Reddit, there's people are like
speculating.
Well, they're speculating that they're basically like, this dude is the most unprepared international traveler ever.
He does tend to think things are going to go all right. One of his, I found it very gripping when he decided to travel across country to get back to Florida, right in the big middle of that ice storm that just shut Texas down. At one point, he's right in the middle of Texas,
Oh God.
trying to get through it. And boy, I tell you what, he exhibited a little anxiety during
Oh yeah.
that show. He had a lot of problems.
He
And I know the feeling. It's like you're on the road and you look ahead at your at stuff and you go, "Hey, I'm going to die out here if the car stops."
yeah, you don't want to die
Yeah,
like that, at least.
yeah, I'll freeze to death if
Well,
everything
he
goes
went to
wrong at once.
Alaska recently,
Yeah, I did that too. Yeah,
and he wore like a hoodie and like t-shirts, and I'm like, he is not prepared for this trip.
yeah. California and Florida kid deciding
Yep.
to go all over the place and discovering.
Yeah, that's basically the gist of the Reddit. It's like, hey, this dude is ill prepared for this stuff. Oh crap.
Yeah, he had the post where he had a still of himself when he ate it going down the slide on a bicycle. Have you ever seen that
Yeah.
video?
Uh-uh.
You've never seen the actual video. It's pretty cool. I mean, it's almost like it's professionally done in terms of like done for comic effect to the extent that he flies out of frame. You know, he's the guy that set the camera up. But for his landing, he flies out of frame, and all you're able to do is hear the audio of how much pain he's in. Oh, he's in pain, man. He really had a good hard face plant somewhere off camera, and it really he scraped himself up really good. And so I commented on that particular still he posted. I said, "Hey, you know what? You could get 1 million views if you go back and do that over again."
Yeah.
And he probably could. You know, it's like, okay, this time is the charm. I'm going to do it right.
Yeah, this time it'll work.
But you know, and then if he
He's
eats it again,
like,
that's even better.
No way, I'm doing that again.
Yeah, it's hard when you've had extreme pain. Talk yourself into doing something over again like that.
Yep.
It's like, this won't hurt as much this time.
Once.
I grabbed that live wire.
Yeah.
Or I already know how much it hurts. I can take it.
Yeah. So the guy that I used to work with, well, there's a guy I work with currently, but there used to be a guy that worked there, and he had, that's YouTube user right there. Dan, I'm lettering your comic. Anyway.
Scott's quick with that program too.
I've been rusty. I told Dan the other day I only got one page done in an evening, but I had to think about it. Anyway, so the guy that I used to work with, he had a shop, and one of the things he did was he restored old video games and stuff like that. I mean, old stuff, you know, like you know, with you know, vacuum and stuff. And he had one of these deals. It's like a love, or it wasn't a love tester. It was one of those deals that you hang onto it and it'd shock you.
Oh yeah,
how manly you were. And
yeah.
So he had that thing and they were going out to eat. There were like 2 or 3 couples going out to eat, and they're there, and one of them, the wife, wants to try it, you know, and this is old, and so he you know, they did it, put a quarter in or whatever, and she grabbed hold of that thing and was gonna, you know, you had to hold. How long could you hold on to it? So when it started shocking her, it locked up her wrist and her arm, and so she could not let go.
She had some amps going through her.
Oh,
it's not supposed to happen.
She ended up peeing her pants, and she had to go home and change before they got and eat.
Oh,
but he said, yeah, I felt bad for her because everybody kind of felt bad, but then we kind of laughed.
Yeah, I guess he's answered that, Dan. Yeah, that sounds like you're talking arcade games. Yeah.
Yeah, it was not really like Pac-Man, but like the real, the older stuff, like pinball machines.
Yeah.
I'm trying
Okay.
to
Yeah.
electric.
Williams Company. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, have you ever? You go down a deep dive looking online at electromechanical arcade games on YouTube. There's
Uh-huh.
some cool ones where you get a gun and you're like shooting at stuff, and there's one where there's a big moon and you're landing with and it's like a plastic moon and a controlled lander, and
Uh-huh.
there's some cool stuff.
I that brings a memory back of do you remember what was it called? Spring Lake.
I never
That
went there, but I remember it.
Yeah, it had roller coasters and stuff, and I probably went there 2 or 3 times. And the Big Dipper was the roller coaster.
Yep.
I rode that a few times, quite a few times. I would be one of those kids that would say, "Hey, no line." That's how our amusement parks were back then. We didn't have that big of crowds, and you could just ride that thing over and over again. And but they had an arcade, and they had the old what would amount to a little visor, and I guess you'd call it a peep show. And they would have things that obviously little strips that probably dated back to
the 30s or something.
Yeah, the beginnings of film and stuff. They actually had some of that stuff, that vintage, and it cost you money, and it was a novelty to be looking at something. And it was, it's really weird to think about, boy, this stuff is so close to being just dust and just a memory, and yet I got to see, I got to have that brush with it, They even had stuff like you just couldn't build anything like this for an attraction nowadays. Spring Lake had one of those fun house things where it had all sorts of dangerous stuff in it that you just couldn't present to the public nowadays. And the big one was the spinning raised hump that everybody got toward the center and all that, and then they turned it on and it just started spinning.
Oh yeah,
and then would throw people off.
They had one of those at Six Flags. Wait, was it a barrel that you were inside, or were you at the outside?
They had that, but the thing I'm talking about is totally flat. It's on the floor, but it raises up as just a mound, a nice little, like a. I can't have any term other than a round, perfectly symmetrical mound of a circle and a circular mound.
I've seen those online.
And you get on it, and there's plenty of room. I mean, 20 people can get on it, and then they're just sitting there, and you start going slow, and then when it picks up speed, whoo! And of course, if you're right on the center, you're like a ballerina doing tight spins.
Right.
But you got to be the one that's right on the center. Otherwise, you're off.
Yeah, centrifugal force is throwing you.
Yeah, so something like that, it'd be funny. Scott, I do appreciate you lettering this. On the plus side, Ben is still accepting material for Tomorrow Girl.
Oh yeah, that's good.
I'll do a pin-up right now.
I've thought forever that we should pitch him as a backup for Black Cricket on Tomorrow Girl. I think you've talked about that too. That would be good. If we could get it as a backup, that would be cool, and it might kind of proof it from some of his concerns.
Insulated or do something.
Well, what he's talked about is the idea that he doesn't want to get in a position where he can't pay creators.
Mm-hmm.
But if he's not taking on other books is one of the things he's talking about. And so if ours is a backup, and if we convince him we just want to do it, I mean, I don't know what the other guys are hoping to get out of it, but I just want to get the book out. And
Hmm.
so if we can do it as a backup,
Hey, there you are.
and he's putting it out, I'm not too worried about, oh my gosh, he's got to pay us.
I'll go back to the other layout. There we
Oh
go.
yeah.
I like that layout better.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. Dan says, I just want groupies. Yeah, like Neil Gaiman.
Oh, yeah.
Neil Gaiman. Let's
Okay.
talk about how much we love Neil Gaiman right now.
It's funny. It's funny. I mean, of all people to get, you know, but
Well,
I mean,
the deal
here's
is,
the thing.
I've said this
Bound to
before.
happen.
Go ahead.
What'd you say, Ellis?
What?
You said, like I always said.
Oh, I've said this before. The deal is you can dependably embarrass somebody if you do any sort of deep dive on them sexually, because all sex is going to kind of like semi embarrass you if it's laid out, even if you found out exactly what you might get up to with your wife of 50 years. I don't know. You can always you'd rather not have your sex uh, given any sort of description, in
Well,
terms of
I
like,
think,
when you think of me, I want you to think of this as the sex act. When you think of me, and then that sort of attack has been going on. I always thought he was a freak,
well,
but man, freak. Yeah, I've heard just one little detail about something that I said, man, isn't that sad that somebody that has got a fetish now, that's all anybody will ever think about him, you know. And
well, the problem with Gaiman, well, it's interesting when this sort of thing comes out because there are people that they see as, like Dan so cleverly said, no, not Neil.
mm-hmm.
But there are some people that they'll just jump on.
Oh yeah.
And part of it is like, well,
Well, that's what I'm talking about. The deal is, once that's exposed, all of a sudden it's like everybody feels the right to.
well, but I
Hey,
think a lot of people knew this.
yeah, that's right. If anyone imagines me having sex, that's on them. That's the deal. All the people that have paid, hush money, that are our politicians, is like, okay, I don't even want to imagine you having sex, but
Well, yeah. I mean, the thing about Gaiman is, well, okay, first off, let me just put this out there. I don't think I've ever read anything of his that I was just like, this is amazing.
mm-hmm.
Good Omens, didn't care for. I read I watched this Amazon series. I didn't care. I mean, it was okay, but whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. What was the Good Omen? We read a book in the podcast. I can't remember what it was.
How about Sandman? Did you read all the
I don't
Sandmans?
care about Sandman, but
Okay.
when you look at Gaiman, it's like he wrote a lot that had a cross gender appeal. Let's put it that way.
Oh yeah, always, yeah.
And so he was bound to have more groupies than, say, like a George Perez or a,
Yes.
And so it's not surprising that he succumbed to this. And I'm by no means am I let him off the hook. I think if anything, the opposite, because he abused that trust.
Yeah, yeah. That's
He
the deal.
abused his appeal.
Well, that's the deal. Though the idea that anybody that allows him to do that is probably in a groupie state of mind, which is a mindset that says I am less than you, and you are the one that, boy, it sure is good you're here because that makes such a much
Well,
better.
yeah, he's taking advantage of that.
Yeah.
But
Hmm.
but I mean, like me, I'm like not really shocked because I didn't put him on. I never put him on a pedestal. In fact, I always
Yeah.
found him as a little. Is self righteous the right word? You know, he just seemed to be a little too. Plus, he's British. I don't trust him as British.
Well, he's got a weird little story in one of his collections of short stories where he is semi autobiographical, where he's talking about an old lover that was basically just a little more than a one night stand, and you get a little sense of
Yeah, that he's
how he's built in terms of like what he might have gotten up to as a for activities
yeah.
sexually, but it's definitely the era he's talking about. Uh, 70s into 80s, he wasn't anything special in terms of like getting sex.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, I don't really care for him, and I'll be honest with you, I take a little bit of not joy, but just
Schadenfreude or whatever you call
well,
it.
yeah, I feel like he's kind of getting what's coming to him because
Mm-hmm.
he just always kind of had
Schadenfreude.
this kind of a holier than thou, um, and and what did they say? He had that attitude. Yeah, exactly, and he just kind of come off as I'm above the rest of you all, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And again, maybe it's because he's British.
Yeah, just the accent.
Yeah.
And boy, and I remember he had a special presentation of Alien one night that I watched, and I got to see, his wife was the silent Elvira character in the background. I guess that's who I was looking at.
Of Alien?
Yeah, it was a special presentation of an uncut, more like a director's cut of Alien, and it included the weird thing where Ripley is making her way out, and she encounters the captain, and he's in the alien has encased him in a cocoon, and
So,
he says, "Kill me," and she does go ahead and kill.
oh yeah, I think that's in the book.
Mhm.
Yeah, Dan's exactly right. This all comes out, and everybody's like, "Oh, everybody knew it," because, like I said, because he was seen as somebody that was if you'll call it an ally or a male feminist or whatever, and so people protected him, which is wrong. That's not how it should. That's not how life should work.
Mhm.
I mean, people should be called out on bad behavior, irregardless whether I don't care if they're a minister or they're an activist or whatever.
I take it J.K. Rowling has taken some sort of crap from him in the past or something because man,
Probably. So, oh, I'm
she
sure she has.
she seems to be very unsympathetic for someone that's
Well,
been
because
put in that situation.
she's been raked over the coals,
Yeah, well,
and
about
but I
sex.
mean,
Yeah,
and that's another one that I think is interesting because I mean, the people that lived and died for Harry Potter,
yeah. Just the
it's
moment
like
she said there was two genders, she was
that she was dead to a lot of them, and it's interesting. I mean, I've read many people going, "Can you separate the? I don't know." In fact, I've read a lot compared to Game. What should I do with this stuff? Well, what did you do with your Harry Potter stuff?
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, and it's just funny to me because it's like so um, Arrested Development kind of stuff. It's like
Well,
really, I mean,
the deal
I don't know.
is, he is one of these guys that qualifies as a writer. There's nothing else he probably could be other than because the passion was there to be a
Yeah,
writer, and he's always going to be a writer, even if he can't sell anymore. He'll probably still be writing,
sure.
and I always kind of, him sharing that part of what he does I always liked it. His little talks with Harlan Ellison in Dreams with Sharp Teeth. It's a great little get together of minds. I really dug it.
Oh yeah,
He he
yeah. I
talks.
like him in the. I've watched that Ditko documentary he's done.
Yeah.
You know,
No,
so
the guy is,
and
and I like the idea of a guy that didn't think comics were beneath him. As a
oh
matter of
yeah,
fact, embraced it in a big way.
I think
He wrote
I think
good
a
he
lot of
wrote good
people.
Batmans. He was
I think a lot of people felt that way. They were like, "Holy cow, this guy could write, and he's writing comics. That justifies my behavior or
yeah,
my
like
that
it'd be like
justifies my
him and
my life as
Brubaker.
like a comics."
Yeah, in terms of like people that can actually deliver the goods. There's not too many that can deliver it quite like he can.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah. Very, I mean, obviously very talented, and
Mhm.
I mean, again, me saying I never cared for him means nothing.
Yeah, well,
I
that's
mean,
the deal. All of us have got those little opinions about who.
sure.
I told you before, this one guy at Blue Sky Software. I just couldn't believe it. It's like he thought Magnola was some sort of rip-off artist. It's like what? And of course he liked the George Perez's. He dug
Oh yeah.
somebody that would do a crowd scene with 80 superheroes in it.
Well, I
That
mean,
was
that's
what he
kind of
lived
how I
for.
am. I mean, I don't think Mignola's a ripoff as such, but
What
I don't,
he
they're
literally thought that because of the stylistically. It's like, look at that.
oh.
It's got 10 lines in it.
Oh, he thought no, not that he thought he was not that he was swiping somebody, but that
No, no, no.
it
He
just
just
you were
thought, he
getting
just thought somebody that
short
would
thing.
sit down at the drawing board and produce what he was doing was ripping us all off.
Oh well,
I wouldn't want to be left alone with him. Yeah, he's navigated
I think you're saying
huge crowds of all kinds of people, had all kinds of drinks with people.
was he talking about gaming?
Yeah, yeah. I was, yeah, Rick,
Oh
and the
yeah,
Dan's Rick.
it just flashed by. I think a lot of
Well,
fellas do the
a
betrayal. They'll
woman,
probably send me
have,
to J.K. Rowling. But
yeah.
if that's true, Dan, why didn't more people? Why wasn't he outed? I mean, the J.K. Rowling thing happened pretty quick. I guess it was so public.
The deal is they're reporting on these people that feel like reporting it to him. Russell Brand's the same way. He obviously was very highly sexed and everything, and you're going to be able to find. He's got a news story where he exposed himself apparently back in the day when he was working for BBC. He
Not the BBC.
he followed somebody in the bathroom and exposed himself, an attractive female or something like that he thought it'd be probably did it as a gag. He in terms of like what he's got as far as inhibitions, he probably says, I've got my unit out half the day some days. So, it's what you get used to. And then it's like, hey, wait a moment.
Whoa, hey, now put that thing back.
Yeah.
Oh, this is what I hate about lettering.
Gaiman told people what they wanted to hear. Yeah.
Yeah.
JK spoke truth. Yeah, that is true. It's almost like a double think. You can
Sure, we're big
just
time.
like 1984. You can say to yourself, well, let's see what will people want to be hearing, and produce that.
Yeah,
and not skip a beat. And it's like we're all different people around different environments. You get somebody say that you're around a bunch of people who want to go out and shoot wild hogs. You're going to be a different person than somebody that's talking comic books.
yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, well, hey man, that sounds fascinating. Killing wild hogs. Hey, I'll be oh, I just remembered I gotta go do something.
Yeah.
But hey, make sure I want to get in on that wild hog thing eventually.
Because bad guy, you know what to tell people to get what you want. Yeah, that's true. Well,
And
yeah,
Neil is the bad guy, sadly. Yeah. I guess I don't know how many do they figure finally came forward? Is it like about six or what?
I don't know the number, but it seemed to be more and more all the time.
I'm not doing very good drawings lately, but I've been doing pretty good inkings lately. Dan's pretty happy with my inking on the Dino puns.
You
Six.
mean you mean Mario?
Yeah, who did I say? Dan. I'm
Dan.
sorry. I'm sorry, Dan. Six is what Dan says the total is right now. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, if I ever get nostalgic about something with Harlan Ellison, I'd be all over that little doc again. The Dreams with Sharp Teeth.
Oh yeah.
It's a fun little doc, and you know, gaming's a
I've
big
never
big
watched
part
it,
of
but
it.
I've seen it on stream. I mean, I've seen where it's on streaming.
Mhm.
I don't know what. I can't remember what I have that has it. Maybe Amazon. Sounds like an Amazon thing.
Yeah, probably is. Yeah.
What to look for? That sounds right up my alley. I like Harlan Ellison.
Oh yeah, yeah, and he's so glib in it, and there's so many apocryphal stories being told. You know, I mean, Ellison's making it up every. You know, there's a new twist to all his stories every
Oh yeah.
day he wakes up. You know, the thing is, the reporter who wrote the story connected the dots and found where the stories lined up, like the Master Nonsense, the humiliation play. Yeah,
Oh yeah. Hang on, Bella. Oh, she was whining. Come here, Bella.
make sure she's not.
We'll get the dog in here. Oh, can you hear her downstairs barking?
Yes, I can.
Oh, so originally we were talking about going to Amarillo tomorrow, but we got to watch the dog. You got her? Send her up here. Bella. Bella.
She's got a sharp little yike.
Oh, that'd be whistling.
Oh, okay. I was going to say.
Come here, Bella. Come here. Hey, come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Hang on, I'll get her. Oh, that's why she's so excited. Come here, Bella. Come here. Come here. She won't let me grab her.
I like this. I don't like this drawing I'm doing, but I like the idea of Scott drifting off and grabbing the dog. You know, that's all the guy has to do is have a channel that features nothing but animals done well.
I got the dog. She's not happy because it's supper time.
You want me to solo you? Let's have a look at you and that dog.
Dog.
Oh boy,
It's
it's time
Nancy.
for
Okay,
dinner. What madness is this? It's dinner time.
Yeah, that dog is crazy. She's fun. We took her to training, and the first day they went around. They said, "Tell us what you like about your dog." And I said, "My dog has so much energy and so much joy, but that's my least and favorite thing about her."
Yeah. Oh man, this cat that's over here, kind of right next to me right now.
Yeah.
It's in its inactive mode. Boy, I tell you what, when I'm trying to get some sleep in the morning, that thing all of a sudden start having this dialogue with this string that I play with it, and it'll pull the string out and drag it across the floor and act like it's a mouse. It can torture or something. See, go back to this layout. There we go. Feed the dog.
Yep, it's supper time for the dog. My dog is not human. What?
My dog is not human.
Oh, yeah, my dog. Yeah.
Yeah, I was watching a guy that was talking about being on the ground floor of being an early YouTuber back when the rules weren't quite, what they were nowadays. People got in early, and got before you even thought about ever making money, you were just doing it for fun. And he showed some of his early videos of going out in his Corvette and doing, dangerous stuff with it. But then he got a hit. Then he realized how much money you could make on YouTube after YouTube got slightly more sophisticated. And the hit was they had raised this injured little fawn deer.
Oh no!
With a big, I guess it was a Rottweiler friendly dog mix. What's the other big friendly dog? That everybody loves so much. It's got a big sappy looking face, but
I don't know.
It's still a big dog, and so those two were raised together, and it showed them playing together, where they're both just jumping up and down into each other and all like that. And he got so many hits on that, he made $700.
And he was like, "Holy cow!
Holy cow! This is a money maker." And he went on from there to show off. He was just he finally found the formula, which is just to show
animals.
No, not animals, but in his case, his biggest success was to show himself as a contractor building stuff he was going to either flip or whatever. And people are hungry enough for that kind of stuff that it became like fishing or something. He had found the hook that gave him a big audience. And that's all it takes is you just turn a corner and all of a sudden if you've got 1 million subscribers, he was retiring. That's the deal. I'll send you a link to this guy sitting there talking about what a long, strange trip it's been. And they're losing him on YouTube because he's like he's a minor kind of guy, like a minor version of PewDiePie. PewDiePie's got so much money, he's basically retired. He just shows up to say, "Hey, how you doing? Whatever. I've already got my money. Here I am talking to my friend." Go to his site every now and then.
Yeah. Well, that's what you would do at that point, is you would push your friends.
Yeah, and guys like Razor Fist and like that. Let's see. Wait a second. Here's Dan. Did you tell Ellis about Planet Comics number 34? Did you buy a Planet Comics number 34 or something?
No, Dan was in Planet Comics 34.
Oh.
What was in there? I forgot. I saw that. What was in there, Dan? Oh, Dan shared. No. I did grayscales in it. That's what. And I did it, but I can't remember what the story is about. I'm sorry, Dan. It's like this. I'm lettering this, and I'm reading it, but I'm reading it enough to letter it. But if you ask me no, I can tell you what this is about.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, that's the deal. You're getting close enough to that. You're reading it.
Yes, I am too. I did the grayscale.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I.
That's cool, though. I mean, that's a cool credit for you that you've got the lettering.
I know. Yeah, I think.
I tell you what, in terms of like you talk about how can I break in, right there, showing off this talent.
Lettering.
Yeah, you'd be in.
I'm way too slow at lettering. But I mean, part of it is I don't do it very often. If I did it, I would have like a bunch of pre-made stuff that would make it a lot
Yeah,
easier.
yeah. Oh, Molly, I tell you what, my new M4, I'm not using it right now. I'm going to get around to that being the computer again, but I still haven't got a few logins and stuff, and I'm still using this one like I'm getting my money's worth out of it. And but
Yeah, it's
it's
like
got the brand new blender in it. Oh boy, I'm thinking about doing stuff. Hey, I had my friend Marty
oh
has
yeah,
just a great artist. And the last
Marty
post,
of the Young Ellis stories or Teenage
yes,
Ellis.
yes, Teen Ellis, yes, he
Yeah,
Marty Davis, great artist. He is totally quitting. He quit Instagram. He in fact deleted everything but two entries, and he's off. And it's all because, and this will touch close to you, Scott,
they're doing
because
AI.
because it doesn't bother you because of AI. He's quit because he will not be party to an institution like Zuck's AI scraping his art, and
Well,
which I understand, but like I say, it's
well,
here. It's
I don't
here.
do AI art. I do AI videos,
Yeah,
and I'm just telling you.
it's
I mean,
here.
that is it's. I'll have to send you the fall stuff we've done. I mean, guys like him shouldn't be worried. The people who should be worried are the people that make real movies. That's what's going to get upended.
Yeah.
I mean, because they don't, nobody cares. They're not, they don't save. I mean, okay, they still is art. Well, what do they do? They're going to make comic out or whatever.
Hmm.
They're not, and I get why. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to minimize how anybody feels, but there's not enough money in what he's doing or what a lot of these people that are really outspoken about it. The money is like in movies and in advertising.
Hmm.
It's in videos though, and that's what's going to really take off. I mean, that's, and it's because it's so good and so cheap, and
Yeah.
so it's fast. It's not. I don't think it's that it's cheap even. That's always a factor, but yeah, Diamond may end up selling. We may not. Yeah, but I mean the video is what I think is really gonna.
Yeah. The those quickly generated things will have their place. But I have you seen how they any background on how they did that? You watched Fallout, yeah, it was called Fallout, the
Yeah,
one
watch
that's based on
Fallout.
the game out. Well,
Yeah.
you know how they did the backgrounds, the backdrops in that.
How?
It's actually a screen that is the size of 5 drive-in screens that they're just playing up against, and
When you say screen, is it an LED screen
yes,
or
it's a huge screen with millions of pixels in it, and it's the size of I'm not kidding. It's it's 3 times the size of height of a drive-in movie screen, and it's big enough that you can do
I,
tracking shots of your actors in front of it.
I'm not
And
surprised. There's a at one of the hotels that they just opened. It's a residence. It's got a it's a big complex. It's across it's catty corner to Penn Square Mall, Ellis, at
mhm.
Penn and
That's your landline, isn't it?
yeah, it is.
Call from unavailable.
Okay, thought I muted it. Anyway,
Call from
the
unavailable.
it's got a huge screen on the wall. It's 4 stories tall.
Call
Uh
from
huh.
available.
You know, they can build that stuff, and so you build it, and then they act in front of you. You're not doing background projection. I mean, it's
Yeah. I mean, it excited me, the idea. I couldn't imagine any, Goggins, the guy that played the ghoul.
Oh yeah,
In Fallout, he thought it was just the coolest thing he ever saw because, that's the complaint, compared to acting in front of a stupid green screen, seeing it actually like they're using the game engine of, yeah. But anyway, it's the render engine everybody uses in games. And the other deal is if they move the camera and it's smartly linked to the screen, the parallax, the whole thing is shifting just the same way a camera would shift as it's photographed. Yeah, and it's just that smart. It knows where it's at. The background shifts with that camera. It's amazing to think about.
Yeah.
Unreal. Yeah, that's the real why I couldn't.
Yeah, Unreal. Yeah, I didn't.
The Unreal Engine. Yeah.
That was what you were talking about.
If you hate the latest Marvel or Star Wars movie, you'll be able to make your own. That's right. But we'll always need writers and artists to feed the beast. But it will.
No, well,
the best of the best has always been out there as the principle for a long time. But
so here's what they're working on, Dan. It's not even like, so what it'll end up as is you will get onto your device, whatever it is, be your TV, your phone, and you will go in and you'll go, I want to watch a 2-hour Batman movie.
And they'll generate
the Penguin, and maybe you'll tell it what you want in it. And I want him to marry Catwoman and them to fight in a log cabin or whatever.
Yeah.
And it'll generate it, and you'll watch it, and that will be the content. And that's what you'll be paying for.
I want to see Matilda May from Life Force as Catwoman. Yeah.
Yeah, and dressed as Life Force. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. With that much clothes.
Yes. I get where you're going there, Ellis.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's where, and anyone that doesn't think it's headed that way doesn't know what they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I haven't signed the NDA yet, so I can tell you it is coming. That's what we're working up to.
Mm-hmm.
And it will be. I mean, the idea, the ultimate end will be content generated on the fly, and so you could come up with a movie, and it'll be a prompt. You won't write the script. You'll write a prompt.
Yes,
and then you could share it. That's the thing, and then you can share it with other people. You could share it with. You could say, hey, let's watch this movie I came up with or whatever, or not. You just watch it yourself. And if you don't like it, you could even stop it and tell
That's a damn good looking page there, Scott. Look at that thing.
All I did was letter it, but yes.
I mean, you lettered it well enough that I'm saying it's a good page.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you. Yeah, that'll be, when this comes about, it's going to upend entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
Just trust me. I mean,
hey, we've done another show where Mario will have to watch it. He didn't take part.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't like it because it's going to cost a lot of, because it'll cost a lot of creative job.
Oh yeah. There's a ton of jobs going away, it's the only thing anybody's investing in because they all know it's going to be so big and so unstoppable.
Oh yeah, they're talking about. I forget the estimate, like a $10 trillion industry or something. I mean, it's well,
to generate 10 episodes with this, and this, and AI will make it. Yeah. It's like if you like Columbo, Let's make another.
Yeah,
one.
that's yeah. You go, well, I didn't. They only made, I don't know, what, 6 seasons of Rockford Files.
Mhm.
Let's make another season, and
Yeah. Starring Angel. Yeah.
yeah, or starring Rockford and showing, or whatever. It's just
Yeah.
and I mean, you already do some of that with some of the AI writing things. I mean,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the
You
deal.
know,
The,
and
the
it's-
writers, probably, you've got to be a little bit gobsmacked to, as a writer, you always thought they had to have you. And here,
Right.
here it's like, no, we're all getting a head start with our AI assistant now.
Well, and I mean, I think that the key for, like, and with, like, us, what we're doing, like with Black Cricket, is we do it because we like the process, and we like to make comics, and then when if it, I mean, I think there'll always be a market for some stuff that's, quote, handmade,
Mhm.
made by people. But what you're going to see is, I think, a lot of the just stuff that's just basically put out just for money. Like, I mean, I think, like, as soon as they can, like, all of Marvel Comics will be AI produced.
Yeah.
They've done
More than
everything
likely.
they could over the last
To eliminate
20,
the human
30
touch.
years to eliminate the creative people. I mean, they, when the artist left to form Image, it crippled. I mean, Marvel stock dropped. And if you look, they've
And
done
they
everything
decided it would never happen again. And Malibu walked into just a big buyout that they didn't really deserve. But
Well, anyway, like I was saying, they if you look, they've done everything they can since then to really hamper the idea of a comic artist. They've done with writers, but as an artist, as like a superstar, that they don't
they don't want
push
that
them.
anymore. Yeah, no
They'll
more of
push
that.
them to a point, but they don't put them. In the old days, they'd put somebody on a book, and they'd work on a book for a couple of years, and that would build up their audience. Now they put them on for an arc, and they move them around, and they do all this stuff. So they kind of have the appearance of pushing them, but they don't really do the stuff that would build their career.
Mhm.
And I think that's on purpose.
What you talking about, Willis? New episode of that. Scott, we've been at it for an hour and 12. Let's quit.
Yeah, let's quit. I'll send you some JPEG. I'll send you some JPEGs tonight. I've got through page 6 lettered.
Excellent.
So,
Talking to Dan there, of course.
Yeah, Dan, that's Dan, not you, Willis. I'll send it as soon as we hang up, though, Dan. So
Okay.
you have it.
See you, everybody, especially Dan for taking part, and D. See ya.
Yep. See ya.
Stream.